Today we're talking to Mags Nixon from the Family Freestylers, so stay tuned. Welcome to another episode of This Indulgent Life, where together wanderlusting families navigate respectful parenting, education, and fulfilling our dreams of having an extraordinary life through travel. We believe that life shouldn't just be an obligation, and that the American dream isn't the same for everyone. We believe that life should be an indulgence, so cherished and enjoyed. And the best way to do that is through enjoying experiences together and following our hearts. May you be inspired to do the same. Remember, you are going to be able to find all of the links and information in the show notes at thisindulgentlife.com/3. That is again, thisindulgentlife.com/3. And be sure to go to the show notes because that is where you're going to find the information on how to enter our launch week giveaway. That's right, from today through April 24th, you will have a chance to enter our big giveaway. So make sure you leave an honest rating and review and then hit the show notes, thisindulgentlife.com/3, so that you can find out all the information that you need. And you'll find the link to our new Facebook community. And this is how we can team up together to be inspired, to educate each other, and to also just help push each other along in our adventures. So please do go, join, interact with people, and I, of course, will be interacting with you too. Mags Nixon is a family travel adventure blogger. She lives in the French Alps with her 2 girls and husband Scott. Mags traveled the globe extensively pre-kids and has not once but twice won a TV travel reality show where she had to race to get back to the UK from an unknown destination in the world without any money. Mags has done every conceivable job in order to travel, and today writes about traveling and outdoor family adventures on her blog, The Family Freestylers, which aims to inspire and encourage families to get outdoors with their kids, whether that be hiking and camping locally, embarking on multi-day treks around Mont Blanc, or more adventurous trips such as family volunteering in the depths of the rainforest in Borneo. So let's welcome Mags Nixon. So welcome Mags from the Family Freestylers. Hello from Hong Kong. Where are you now?
Hi everyone. I'm in Chamonix in the French Alps at the moment.
French Alps. I'm really excited to have you on my very first interview for the podcast, and we have lots.
I'm excited to be here.
It's so cool that we can do this now. Why don't you just start by telling us who you are and your family and what you are doing, like how you got into travel and how you do that with a family.
Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Mags Nixon. Our family, we love to travel, but I mean, all origins from my love of traveling, which I've had forever, and I've always done everything I could to travel, every single job. I've done season after season and winter seasons in the Alps, and then seasons working in the summer on super yachts as a chef and teaching English around the world, and you name it, I've done it. So my husband and I met many, many years ago doing winter seasons here in Chamonix, actually. And so we are both very seasonal people. When we left here, we went back to the UK, to London, where we were back in the UK for 10 years. And we had both of our children there. We have 2 girls. One is 10 years old, called Minnie. And the other one is Bo, who is 8 years old. And so we spent 10 years back there, just going on holidays and kind of having a normal life. And then, several things changed our lives. One was the birth of our second daughter, who has mild cerebral palsy. I think so we stayed a lot longer in England than perhaps we would have done, because we had to learn about her condition and how to manage it. But then we started to Airbnb our house out for the 6 week summer holidays.
Oh, you guys get 6 weeks, man. Ooh, that's so nice.
Yeah. Yeah, 6 weeks in the summer in England. And we lived in a beautiful little town on the coast in North Devon called Braunton. It's a very big surf spot in the UK, so jam-packed full of tourists in the summer. And quite a few families down there rent out their houses via Airbnb for the 6 weeks and make a good income from it, enough to go traveling for 6 weeks in Sri Lanka or Bali or wherever. So we started to do that, and it was a fantastic way to travel. And I would really encourage families out there who want to travel but perhaps don't know how they're going to be able to finance a kind of a short, longer trip, say 4 weeks to 6 weeks, to think about doing that if they live in a touristy spot. It might sound scary at the beginning, but I actually write about it on my blog, how to Airbnb your house, and how it is a really good step for families. So anyway, we started doing that every summer. And then we're a snow family, so we love snow, we love snowboarding, and that's where my husband Scott and I first met, in the Alps. And so we've always taken the girls skiing since they were 3 years old. And with Bo, I made sure that we wanted to put her on snow at the same age as my older daughter. And so we started to do that from 3 years old. She was on skis. And back in the UK, she was regularly seeing a physio. And they noticed that every time we came back from a snow holiday, her condition was much, much improved. And so we took that on board. And it got to the point that they said, do as much skiing as you can. Skiing is so beneficial for her condition that do it as much as you can. And so for us, being such a snow family, and with our connections still back in Chamonix, we still have a lot of friends there, a lot of people we know, we decided to make the move over to Chamonix to do winter seasons. So that's kind of where we started to break away from the UK with as a family. So yeah.
So now you are officially an expat family in the French Alps. And how do you manage school with that? Do you go to a local school? Do the girls go to local school, or? Yeah,
as always, education is the biggest thorn in the side, I think. That and finance.
Yes.
So we initially came out to do a winter season to see how beneficial it would be for Bo and her condition. So her condition, she has mild cerebral palsy, and she was born very prematurely. My waters broke at 28 weeks. And she was then born at 31 weeks. And we knew there was always a high risk of cerebral palsy with prem babies. Mm-hmm. And then she got diagnosed when she was just under 1 year old as to having mild cerebral palsy, spastic diplegia, which is, if you don't know, it is
yes, please let us know.
It's a chronic neuromuscular condition. So she has a constant tightness in her lower limbs, specifically her left leg, which means that she is a toe walker. And in the UK, she was having regular physio. We were doing regular physio with her, but she was also wearing orthotics on her legs. So she had kind of splints on her legs that would go from just below the knee down to her ankle, and then like a plastic sole that would go under her foot, and that would slide into the shoe that she was wearing. And sometimes she had to wear them at night as well. So that was to stretch out her ligaments and her limbs, to try and keep some kind of flexibility in there. So we just decided to go for 5 months, which is a winter season. And so we rented out our house, just on a short-term 6-month tenancy. and we packed up and we told the school, and the school were initially supportive of us going on longer holidays. So for 2 or 3 weeks we could go skiing, or to go maybe several times a year to take the children out of school. But I don't know whether you know about schooling in the UK, but you're not allowed to take your children out nowadays.
Same in the US.
At all. Yeah, otherwise you get fined.
It's like 5 days max in a school year, and then otherwise you could go to jail even. Yeah. I think it's similar in England. It's very strict, which makes it very difficult for families wanting to go on holiday, to kind of escape the really expensive flights and the cost involved with going during, school holidays. So we had to de-roll them from school. Basically, we had to completely take them out. The school wouldn't keep her place open, even on disability grounds, which I thought it was. I fought tooth and nail. I was in tears over going for this first season because we couldn't keep their places open. So we had no guarantee of whether they'd get back into their school on their return. And I thought it was very important because Bo trips up a lot, or she used to trip up a lot, and so she knew all the trip hazards in that particular school. It was a small rural school. She'd known the teachers and all the children since she was a baby, because the older child, my older child, then he went. Yeah, so it was a big deal. And so we took her out anyway, because we had to see whether skiing was going to be, life changing. Right. And it turns out it was. So we enrolled them. We put them into Montessori school here, which is a private school, cost a fortune, but it was easy, and it had none of the stress with starting, a French school and being fully immersed in French, and so we tried that for the first season, and it worked really well. But the most incredible thing is that she changed completely after 5 months skiing. The benefits of the core muscles, the core strength of skiing, the balance of skiing, and not just that, but her leg. I told you she was a toe walker. Yeah. So her ankle is fully locked into ski boots, so she can no longer be a toe walker. So instead of having those orthotics in England, she doesn't need to wear orthotics here because she skis so much. So that in itself, by having the ski boot on, is just a huge physio workout for her. So anyway, we went back to England, and they did manage to get into the same school, which was fantastic. And the parents and the teachers were just astounded by the girl they saw, who was running around confidently around the playground and just was tripping so much less. She was so strong, and it made a big difference to her. And we were just absolutely over the moon. It's amazing. And so then, of course, we had the whole. In an ideal world, we would have loved to have come out to the Alps for the winter to ski and to spend the summers back in the UK, back in their, the rural school that they know. But it's just impossible. It's impossible to keep the places open. Very difficult with the education system, and I'm sure most families that want to travel, it's probably the main worry is how to keep the schooling going and how to get them back into their school or whatever. In the end, we had to make a choice. The choice was: do we move full time to France so that she can ski, or do we run the risk every single time going out to do a winter season, whether they would get back into the same school and whether they would keep going back into a different school, because that's very unsettling in itself. So yeah, we made the decision, and we've now been here. We've now been here 18 months full time. So we're on our third winter season. Yeah. Okay. And how does she do? So, because skiing is only for those 5 months. How does she do for the other part of the year, the other 7 months?
Well, we have physio exercises that we do with her. So we keep it up with that, and there are other activities. Basically, it's about keeping her as active as possible. So to just do as many sports as possible. So, horse riding is really good. Even riding her bike. We keep her as active as possible, and just having those 5 months, it almost sees her through, to the next ski season. It's fantastic. And the head of physio in Devon in the UK said to me, and I think this really made us decide to move out for good, was anything that you could do for her before she's 8 years old will have a lasting impact on her life. I mean, to that as a parent,
yeah,
that's
you're like
huge.
done.
And we have the power. We have the power to change our lives. And she was 5 when she came out for her first season, and she's just turned 8. And last week she got her gold medal for skiing. So with ESF, which is École Ski Française here, they have a series of tests that the children do to work their way through the different ski levels. And last week she got the final one that the highest a child can possibly get.
Wow.
So for us, I mean, I could have cried. It was just fantastic.
I want to cry for
she
you.
rips on skis. She rips on skis. And do you know what? She is as mobile as other children on skis,
It's her equalizer.
So exactly. The same as on a bike, on a bike. This is when we try and travel, we always try to make sure there's another mode of transport that we can take, because for her, hiking is a big no-no. So I hike separately with my older daughter. We've gone on many long distance hikes and adventures around the world, but unfortunately I can't take Bo with us on those unless there's another mode of transport. For example, in New Zealand, we did the Abel Tasman Coastal Track, which is it's a 4 or 5 day coastal walk in between huts. But the fantastic thing is there are water taxis that can take you around to the huts. You can kayak some of the sections. And so there's lots of different ways, not just hiking. So we're always looking for different ways to get around her disability. Although nowadays, I don't even really want to call it a disability, because she is so enabled now that, she's, I mean, in the UK, she had a wheelchair, but not for every day. We were forced to get it, to be honest. Well, I'd always said the school insisted that we get one for school trips, because we used to end up carrying her a lot if she got tired. But of course, teachers
can't do that.
Aren't allowed to carry. Yeah, they can't do that. So we were forced to get a wheelchair, and it's interesting, about how a child can change so much, and what kind of life she might have had if we'd stayed in England.
Do you feel like you have to adjust even like how far away you can travel sometimes, or how long you can travel? Like if you're too long on an airplane or something like that, do you feel, is that a consideration you have to make at all?
Not really. I always make sure I've got assistance in the airports. So if we're on a long haul and we're changing kind of 12 hours in, that can be hard to get her across an airport. So we get a wheelchair, we get assistance for that, which she absolutely loves it, of course. And my older daughter kind of has a ride on it too. So there are things I put in place like that when we're traveling. And of course, for example, if we're in a city, then I'll make sure I get an Airbnb that's right in the center, because she can walk, but she can't walk long distances. Yeah. So I have to be very mindful of that. We can't easily traipse around the city all day like other children would. We have to kind of know our limitations. And it might be that my husband goes off with one of my older child, and we split up quite a lot sometimes to change kind of activities.
So everyone kind of gets what they want out of the adventure, basically, out of the vacation. Yeah. Everyone kind of gets their own thing, but still as a family.
Exactly.
That's a good way
Exactly.
of
I
doing
mean,
it.
if we're on a an adventure together, for example, we spent 4 weeks in Sri Lanka a couple of years ago. There were certain treks that she wouldn't be able to do, but we chose a really exciting. It was a trek up to Pindagola Rock in Sigiriya, and it was sunrise trek, and we had a porter that we brought with us anyway, just to show us the way. But it was an easy trek. It was about an hour up, and between us, we didn't really need to lift her because she's strong now, and we just have to know her limitations. But it was fantastic that we set off in the dark with head torches on, and it's all exciting. I mean, that's half the battle, isn't it? To make it exciting as possible, to keep their interest as we go along. I always try and, if we are going for a hike, which she can manage small distances, is to choose a really interesting one that's got sticks and rivers, and we don't have a pet, but dogs are amazing. We don't have a dog because we travel so much, but it's so much easier for her to go on a hike if there's a dog, chasing the dog and just not thinking about it.
Rent a dog.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Exactly.
I love how you not only didn't let it stop you guys, but you've also just kind of integrated it into your life and into what you're going to do and the travels that you're going to take. And I think a lot of families, when they get diagnoses like this, that they freeze and they're like, well, I can't do anything now. We can't go and do things, and we're not going to be able to do this, and we're not going to be able to do that. And instead of doing that, you guys have said, okay, well, let's just do this instead, and we'll switch this around, and we'll just do this. And you're still living a life of travel, and you just take it day by day, and it doesn't seem like a big deal at all when I'm talking to you. It's like, it's just...
No, well, it isn't. I mean,
anymore, at least.
Well, I mean, some people wouldn't even notice now, when she's tired, you can see that she's a toe walker and she limps a bit, and maybe it might get worse in the future as she gets older and grows. She's going to be tall. My other daughter is so tall. We're all a tall family, so who knows? But what I would say to other families, and I've had a lot of families contact me actually through the blog now. I don't specifically write about Bo and her disability and skiing. I have touched on it here and there. But a lot of families have contacted me now through the blog saying that we've inspired them to take their child skiing who might have CP or some other disability. And in fact, it was lovely to meet a family a month or so ago in Chamonix that came over that knew one of our friends here, and their daughter had cerebral palsy. And it was around the same level of the condition as Bo. So it was really nice to see that. I mean, they'd never met anyone either, that's the same as them, and they talked about their wonky leg, and they compared both of their wonky legs with the left one. And so she started skiing for the first time because they'd heard about Bo and how incredible skiing has been for her. And it was really lovely to speak to her parents and to meet her and to know that we've inspired another family. And I've had other families saying that they're going on their first ski trips because of us. So, I mean, it all makes it worthwhile, not just for what we've done for Bo, but for other families, that it's totally possible and totally doable. And don't let schools stop you, and, just to do what you feel is right for your family.
Right. And who knows, maybe hearing more stories like this, people will bring it back to their doctors, and it will become an even more recommended thing for doctors to say, hey, try this, and maybe more and more people will get more mobility because of it. So that would be amazing.
Oh, totally. It would be amazing, wouldn't it? Can you imagine if it was prescribed skiing for cerebral palsy? I mean, I know that our physios were wanting to do some research on it actually because of Bo and the effects. They could see Bo repeatedly coming back and the benefits that it was giving her. So I think there was some kind of research going on at that point in Devon. It'd be interesting. The lady that was running it went on maternity leave, so it would be nice to catch up with her and see kind of where that's going right now. But it would be fantastic if more families knew about it, you know.
That's awesome. All right, so let's switch a little bit. We've talked about Bo and how travel's been helping her and skiing and whatnot. I saw on your blog that you took a trip with Minnie to Borneo, I believe, to do a family volunteering trip. I love this idea. It actually reminds me of, I guess you could call it our baby moon. We were only 7 weeks pregnant, but my husband and I took a trip to Boracay, and the little hotel that we stayed in, the guy, he was Filipino, but he had went to Canada and come back, and he used the profits of his hotel to help the local schools. And so we actually went with him one day while we were staying there to help serve food and hang out with them and things like that. And it just kind of reminded me of that experience, like how good it makes you feel. So,
oh my goodness. So good.
Right? So could you maybe elaborate a little bit more as to, tell people the company you went with, what made you think about doing this, and how you feel maybe it was beneficial for your family, or at least you and Minnie?
Yeah, sure. So I had wanted to do some kind of solo trip with Minnie for some time. She's a tween now. She's just turned 10. And Bo has always had a lot of attention because of her condition. So I think sometimes Minnie feels that. And I wanted to do something that perhaps Bo couldn't necessarily do. And so... yeah, I mean, we all love wildlife in our family completely. And Minnie loves orangutans, and she loves drawing, and she loves hiking, she loves being outside. And so I was researching for some time, really, to find a company that was a really good fit for us. Because, I mean, there's so many volunteering programs out there, and you never really know how much money is actually going to the cause. And it's very cool, isn't it, at the moment? So I found an amazing company called The Great Projects. They're based in England, and they have around 13 different family volunteering projects overseas, and they're all wildlife based. So that was a fantastic start. And they have I think it's 10 times a year they go to Borneo, and they work with a charity on the ground there called Ape Malaysia. And the program was spending a week in the Kinabatangan, which is an area that's the Kinabatangan River, which is in northeast Borneo in Sabah. And it was to replant the rainforest, so help plugging the holes in the canopy to aid animal movement from the coastal mangroves up into the interior. So we flew out for about 3 weeks. So we flew straight out to the project. So we flew to Sandakan, and we were very nervous. Gosh, we were so excited, but obviously we've never been on a family volunteering project before, and we didn't know what was involved. And Minnie, I think Minnie was quite scared. She kept talking about tigers, and
as I saw her, I saw your video diaries.
No tigers.
She's like, I had a dream I was going to be eaten by a tiger.
I know.
It was so cute.
Poor thing. Well, I mean, she's only 10 years old, so before anybody travels, even adults, we have apprehensions, don't we? It all culminates, and you're so fearful sometimes about what if, and that you don't know, all the unknowns ahead of you. And of course, once you get on the ground, it's normally absolutely fine, and you wonder what on earth you were worrying about. But it was lovely. So we flew out, and we met the team in Sandakan. And we met another family who were lovely. And in fact, it was their mother as well, with 2 of them had just taken them out as well. So it was the 5 of us on the volunteering program. So we went to stay in a very tiny village called Sukau on the Kinabatangan River. And I mean, this place is, it's the only one of two places in the world where 10 primates live together.
Wow.
I mean, they have the National Geographic Lodge was about half a mile down the river, and it's an incredible place, Borneo. We honestly lost our hearts there. So we stayed in this small village, and we had a guide, and every day we would go out via boat to different sites of the rainforest, and we learned how to use a machete, and we had to do some, as Minnie would call it, some extreme gardening, which was we had to chop down all the undergrowth that had grown around previous saplings that other volunteers had grown, because obviously it was 98% humidity there. Everything grows. Yes. I mean, in vast quantity. You couldn't even see. We got to a clearing in the rainforest, and you couldn't even see the saplings that were there because of the undergrowth. So one of the guides had to go around and put stakes where they all were, so that we knew kind of where they were and where we had to start chopping.
And what not to
chop.
So
that was fantastic. Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it was hard work, but actually we only did that for 2 or 3 hours in the morning when the heat was, at its coolest. And then the next day we went to a different site, and we actually planted saplings. So it was so rewarding, and we did lots of wildlife. In the afternoons we would go wildlife spotting, and we didn't see any wild orangutans, which was a shame, but we did get to see them in the Sepalok Rehabilitation Centre, which is very famous. I'd watched it on television when I was about 10, her age actually.
Wow.
For me that was a dream come true for me as well. But we saw 67 pygmy elephants along the river coming through. I mean, that was absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. And for her,
I loved how Minnie described all of these situations. It was so sweet.
Oh, can you imagine being 10 and doing? I mean, I look at her and the experiences she's having and thinking, wow, it gives us hope for the next generation, doesn't it? That
yes,
she really is a warrior for conservation and wildlife, and she loves to sketch and draw, and she wants to be the change. She can't bear the thought of animals being endangered and possible extinctions, and she wants to go out and really help. And she worries at night about which endangered species she should help, because she knows that she should only focus on one and to make a real difference, and she worries about which one she should try and save. And
Aww.
She picks up litter, and she's such an eco warrior. So it was wonderful to see, all her apprehensions just evaporate from being on the ground, being in Borneo. We had the most fantastic guides. Ape Malaysia are such a wonderful, wonderful charity on the ground, and it really left us with a sense that we had helped, and also, but how could we help in the future, and what other programs are there out there that we can go on, because I mean, family volunteering, it's a different way to travel. It's a different holiday, and it's a holiday with a difference. And I'd really like to focus more on that on the blog, and finding out about really good programs for families around the world, because it's difficult, because a lot of the programs are, it's normally 8 and older to go on them. Some of them are 7, but so it's finding out about the ones that have got the minimum age for the requirements for the children, but also the ones that are actually giving a significant amount of the contributions from volunteers to the company on the ground.
Versus them, yeah. Now, do you feel that your bond with Minnie was improved by doing this? Do you feel like you grew closer together at all?
Oh, hugely. I mean, anybody that's got a big family, I mean, there's only 4, we've only got 2 girls, but even so, everybody knows you never have enough one-on-one time with your children, and to be able to take them on a one-on-one solo trip, it was the first time we'd ever done it, and I would highly recommend it, and we're definitely going to do it again. It was fun. It was absolutely fantastic. You know, I could finish my sentences. I'm not distracted. I had one-on-one attention to her.
No sibling rivalry.
She just blossomed. She absolutely blossomed. And I really do feel that we're a lot closer because of it. Definitely. And we often still talk about, oh, do you remember this? Or do you remember that? And we look through her sketches, and we can't wait to go away again together. But equally, I'd like to take Bo away one-on-one as well. And it's finding the right kind of program for her that she would be happy going on, and then that she would, you know, really find it would make a difference for her as well.
That's awesome. I'm sure you will find something. You seem very resourceful in finding these programs. You'll have to make a list for everyone to know which ones they can do, because I really think a lot of families could benefit from that. I mean, how many times do we hear our generation say, you know, kids are so entitled and this and that, and maybe if we got them out volunteering more, maybe if we volunteered more, then they would want to as well, and they would see, you know, the appreciation that they should have for things. So I think that's a really great way for families to not only travel and experience new things, but to develop an appreciation for what they have. So
completely. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, traveling is a wonderful education for children, just from seeing poverty and how other families live around the world, and not taking things for granted, like running water, or, you know, it really opens up their eyes, and I think it builds tolerance and love around the world, and instead of just being in your own country and seeing it all on television, and whether you believe that or not, but you know, it's about getting out there for yourself, isn't it? And seeing the world through your own eyes, and you being the person judging and not relying on what other people tell you. I think the lessons for children are huge, and how one person can help. I think Minnie felt very empowered by what she did, because one, she totally got it about the different ecosystems, and how these ecosystems are all interconnected. I mean, our guide was telling us about how obviously if we're preventing deforestation by replanting the rainforest, and if the soil erodes because of deforestation, then the soil ends up going down the river and into the Sulu Sea, which will kill the coral. And so she really learned, okay, so one, we're helping the animals to help the movement of animals, because orangutans, they only move through trees. They don't go along the ground. They move through trees, so they require trees to move. They require the trees, obviously, for fruit and food, but also to realize that the world is just interconnected, you know, about the ecosystems, and to learn that about the coral and the soil erosion. She just got it, you know, and she felt empowered that one person can make a difference. I mean, we made a series of videos actually with the great projects, and in it Minnie does a daily talk on YouTube about how it is for her as a child to go on the volunteering trip, and her kind of what she got up to on a daily basis. And you can see she's tired when at the end of the day, she's tired. We've been out in 98% humidity. She's been working in the rainforest, and she's very shy at the beginning. And as the days progress, you can see, A, she's getting used to the camera more, but B, she's getting more enthusiastic about what she's doing, she's helping save the world. And it led her to believe that she can change, that one person can change the world. And if we all had that mentality, then collectively we can change the world.
Exactly. You know what I also loved? For me, I guess because I'm a teacher, I kept thinking about this, like, in 1 week, you guys got, like, a whole semester worth of lessons on science and biology and like all of these things in 1 week. I'm sure that she internalizes that information so much more than if she had been sitting in a classroom learning it.
Oh, without a doubt.
I mean, just watching her in her little video diaries, like describing in detail about what she's doing and the steps that she's taking and why she's doing it, I was like, man, she has like her own how-to video here. Like, she's really intelligent. Yeah,
and she adopted an orangutan as well. We just got the update the other day. She was just, she got it through the post, and she was just so excited and so happy. But also it is truly inspiring, really. What I've lost my thread. Sorry, my thread of what I was saying. Then I was going to go off on a different tangent.
So we were talking about
that was it.
Yeah.
No, I remember.
Okay.
So she came up to me. Minnie came up to me and she was talking about she's talking about what she wants to do when she grows up, and she said that she wants to be an explorer, and she wants to help save species, and she wants to be a biologist, and she learned to dive when we were in Borneo as well. So, and she loves Sylvia Earle, and perhaps to be an oceanographer, and so there's all these passions here, and her sketching, and but she was saying, but Mummy, how can I make a difference, and what should I do, and what exams do I need? And kind of we were talking about she's going to start college soon, which is secondary school, so I guess you have to start making choices about what you want to do in life. And I said to her, Minnie, there's a lot of competition. There's a lot of competition for those kind of jobs, but I said, you've already started. You've already started your learning process, and you've already started having an audience through your YouTube videos from Borneo. And I said, we also went to an island in the Sulu Sea called it's called Turtle Island. It's called Selingan, really, but they call it Turtle Island because it's a national park, a national marine park, and they have a hatchery there for green turtles. So we went over and we stay overnight, and you see the turtles laying their eggs, and then we release the hatchlings as well. So we talked to the rangers about their program, and we'd seen some negative comments on TripAdvisor before we went about there being quite a lot of rubbish litter on the other side of the island. So we made it our job when we were there to make sure we walked all the way around the island so that we could comment on this and maybe speak to the management about ways that they might be able to improve this. And I spoke to the manager after our trip, and she quite rightly said they only have 5 full-time rangers, and litter is a huge problem in Asia and then in the seas over there. And obviously
it doesn't even come from there. It comes from everywhere else. We get trash from China, from mainland China, all the time.
Yeah. So it's the tides that bring it in, and they clear the beaches where the turtles are laying. But it's coming in on the other side of the island, which is it's mainly reef. And we talked about implementing some kind of 1-hour volunteering program that tourists come every single day to watch the turtles lay and release the hatchlings. And we talked about implementing a voluntary litter picking program for an hour, maybe just after they arrive. And I said we would have gladly gone on something like this. And she said it was a problem because the Asian tourists would not want to do it at all. And so we talked about it being a voluntary program. But I think any Western tourist that is visiting an island like that to see turtles lay and to see that wonderful natural, that experience happening, I think they would gladly go. And so we were talking about that, and I said, Minnie, maybe we should make a video about this, and you can be a voice. You can be a voice, I think people would listen to her as a child. I think it has a much more of an impact coming from the next generation than from a grown-up adult talking about it. It's almost much more innocent. Yeah,
Yes.
so I mean that's an interesting way to follow up for her, but I think she'll probably be doing a lot more in the future.
We'll see more of Minnie. See where she goes from there. All right, amazing.
Yeah.
So we're almost done. I just got a few more questions that I like to ask everybody. So first of all is, what is on the agenda? What is next for you guys when it comes to travel? Do you got any plans?
Yeah, we've got some plans firming up. We would like to return to Borneo. We're talking with the tourist board at the moment about going back as a press trip to do some work over there with them. And then we're hoping to go sailing as a family.
Yes.
So yeah, I've spent a long time on boats working, and my husband got his sailing qualification last summer. So our next step is to take a family sailing holiday. So that's very exciting, hopefully to Greece. We're also going to go cycling up to the Orkney Islands, the Shetland Islands, off the coast of the Highlands of Scotland.
Yeah.
So we're talking about doing a trip there at some point, either this May or later on in the summer, which is exciting. So that's kind of where we are at the moment with this year.
That's
yeah,
enough.
we can't wait. We can't wait. Yeah, I mean, at the moment we're back in France, and they're in school here. They're in French school now. So we can't take them out for really long periods. What we would like to do, and what I think we're gearing up to do, is to go full-time traveling. But that takes it has to be the right time. So it's not going to happen for 1 or 2 years yet. But that's very exciting, and
Yes.
so that would involve obviously homeschooling along the way, and then I would envisage us volunteering a lot and finding some really, really amazing causes to help with along the way. So that's really exciting.
Oh wow. Well, I'm going to keep an eye out for that, because I'm sure there's going to be lots of amazing things coming from you guys. All right. So we've talked a little bit about this, but just could you give like maybe a 1 or 2 liner about what you hope your kids will learn from traveling?
I would like them to learn to be tolerant, to be kind, to understand different cultures, to understand that we're all the same. Doesn't matter what color our skin is, we're all the same. We're human beings, and to learn about the world we live in, Earth and nature, and how it needs to be protected. I think those are the two biggest hopes that any parent can ask for.
I think so. I think a lot of us will probably have very similar answers on that. And then, to you personally, what does being able to travel with your family mean to you? Like, what does it mean to you personally? Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Okay.
For me, it's everything. It's everything. I mean, I am a natural born traveler. It's everything I've always wanted to do, is to explore new lands and to explore different cultures. So for me, it's a dream come true. It's a dream come true. I think it's the best form of education. I think for us, for any family, you only have a finite amount of time with your children before they grow up and they leave home. And why would you want them to go to school every day and to go for the parents to go out to work every day? If you can make it happen to travel, it takes away all of that. You spend time together, you bond more, you know the lessons that you learn together, not just for children but for the parents as well. It's so valuable in life. I think, I think it really is one of the best things that you could do for your children as a family, to bond together and to have those special times. Yeah.
I agree. And what is one piece of advice to families looking to travel more? One piece of advice you might have for them.
I would say, don't put it off. Do it now. I mean, you'll never find the perfect time to go. If it's imagine if it's a big trip, a year around the world, there'll never be a better time than now, because tomorrow now is gone, and your children grow so quickly that the time will flash by. And when you're on your deathbed, you don't want regrets, You'll always be able to find more money. You'll never be able to find more time. So even if you don't quite have enough money to do the trip that you want, go on another trip, or find a way, or work as you go, or there's always a way. Just don't put it off. Do it now. Those dreams that you have, make them happen. You can make them happen. Just do it now.
Do it now. That's right.
And don't let people put you off. Don't let people put you off, because there is. Oh my goodness, there are so many naysayers in this world. If I'd listened to every single person that thought, there was a lot of people that thought, my husband and I just wanted to go and do a ski season. It was all for us. We wanted to go back and ski every day. I do not ski every day here. Absolutely not. And all those people, just put them to just don't even listen. Just be true to who you are. Be the person that you want to be. Be the person that you are, Don't listen to anyone else. Don't listen to negativity. Block it out.
Exactly. When we moved to Hong Kong, my family is used to me traveling, so they were just like, okay, whatever. But my husband's family, they were not used to that at all, and they could not wrap their heads around, like, why would you do that? And they kept saying things, and luckily they stopped after a while, and I think they understand now. But if we had been influenced by that, and I hadn't at least known, hey, I know what this is, right? I'm okay with this. You never would have had the adventures that we've had. I might not even have my son at this point. So you can't let other people direct your life, for sure.
No, completely. Absolutely not. You'd never do anything really, would you? I mean, I guess it applies to everything, but for some reason with traveling, people have strong opinions about taking your children out of school. I think there's a backlash against that in the UK about taking your children out of school. And hey, another piece of advice for families wanting to travel is go onto Instagram, because there is such a huge community of families that are traveling in so many different ways, whether it's full-time travel or kind of, traveling in the school holidays. But there's an amazing community of traveling families and like-minded families on Instagram. And it's there that you can see there are so many families doing it. There are so many families traveling around the world, homeschooling their children. And I think there's no other platform like Instagram for showing you that. It really is amazing. So if there are families out there that want to take the step into traveling with their family, whether it's full-time travel or just traveling more adventurously, then do go onto Instagram and find some of the traveling families on there, because they're also open to asking questions and giving advice, just like I do with other families as well. It's really inspiring.
And that's how I found you.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's how we connected the first time. So definitely. Yeah. All right. Yeah. And just so everybody knows where they can read more about your trips and about your family, where can people go to connect with you and find you? Like, what should people look for?
So
like your handle and your website.
So we have a blog which is called the familyfreestylers.com. So we have a website, and then we're on Instagram. So I think we're just the Family Freestylers on Instagram. I'm having a look now. Yes, we are. We're just the Family Freestylers on Instagram. And they're our two biggest platforms, really. So yeah, come on over to Instagram. Come find me. You can connect. You send me a direct message if you have any questions about what we've been doing, or about volunteering with your family or trekking with your family or anything, you can direct message me or just see what we're up to. Yeah, please do. I'd love to hear from you.
Well, Mags, this was brilliant. Thank you so much. It was like literally just a normal conversation. It was amazing. I feel like I learned so much.
Thank you for having me.
So thank you again, and I hope we can continue to connect. And as you have more adventures and travel, especially when you go full time, let's do this again. And for now, let's just have a great rest of your day.
Oh, thank you so much. I'd love to come back on anytime. Thank you for having me, Mary. Bye, everyone.
Remember, you are going to be able to find all of the links and information in the show notes at thisindulgentlife.com/3. That is again, thisindulgentlife.com/3. And be sure to go to the show notes because that is where you're going to find the information on how to enter our launch week giveaway. That's right. From today through the April 24th, you will have a chance to enter our big giveaway. So make sure you leave an honest rating and review and then hit the show notes, thisindulgentlife.com/3, so that you can find out all the information that you need. And you'll find the link to our new Facebook community. And this is how we can team up together to be inspired, to educate each other, and to also just help push each other along in our adventures. So please do go, join, interact with people, and I, of course, will be interacting with you too.